Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today, all of my other video ideas have to wait, they have to be put on hold because Chanel increased their prices once again. And as already announced on my Instagram, today I want to talk about it. So in preparation for this video, I also watched Sophie Shohei's video on the Chanel price increases as well as Chase Amy's. I will link both of them down below. I think both of these videos are also very good and very helpful because they do both have slightly different opinions and views on the same situation, and they also do make various good points which I try to summarize or integrate in my video as well. But of course you will hear my loud and proud opinion about all of that as well. So for those of you who did not hear of all of this drama yet, Chanel did again increase their prices just about, I think, 1 or 2 weeks ago. So once the boutiques were open again, you pretty much didn't really have a chance to get something for the old price. They already started to increase them. So their last price increase was actually in November or October of 2019. So it was just half a year ago, and they already back then had some hefty price increases. However, this time around, they really meant business when it comes to their price increases because they increased their prices between 5% and 25%. If you think of a bag that does come with a price tag of, let's say, 4,000 or 5,000 euro to begin with, to increase that price by 20% or 25% is quite the crazy thing. So I will insert a chart of like what these percentages specifically mean. Let's take a closer look. So basically what Chanel did is they took a look at the most classic, the most iconic, as well as the most coveted and requested and popular bags right now, and they increased these the most. So whereas the Chanel boy bags only got increased by 4 to 5%, the whole classic flap line from the minis to the maxi, they got the heftiest price increases, around 14 to 25%. And then the small leather goods or the wallets on a chain, they also got increased by around 17%. So let's take a look at 3 super popular bags out of this whole classic range. So let's start with the minis, because the mini square and the mini rectangular are 2 of the most popular, coveted, and sometimes even hard to get bags out of this whole like classic range, even though they are officially not considered to be classics. However, they are in this case obviously treated like one. So the Square Mini by Chanel did cost 2,680. It experienced the highest price increase of 25%, which means that it now costs 3,350 euro. And then if you take a look at the rectangular one, this is actually the one that I got quite recently before the lockdown. And this bag did cost 3,050 euro. Price was increased by around 15%, which means that it now comes with a price tag of 3,500 euros. Then let's take a look at the jumbo, because I know that the classic double flap jumbo bag is one of the most popular ones out of the classic flap range. So the classic jumbo flap bag was at 5.7k before the price increase. The price increase was around 16%, and that means that this bag does now cost 6.6k euro. The maxi is actually at 7.1k at this point. So yeah, which means that these prices slowly but steadily, very steadily, come closer and closer to, let's say, a price range that is owned by a brand like Hermes. And talking about Hermes, let's dive into, or let's talk about why these hefty price increases do happen. So as I know from someone who is actually working at Chanel, they do have the strategy, or the reason for the price increases is the fact that they want their bags to become, or to grow or develop to a level as Hermes, which has various problems. So they want to achieve that same status within the luxury handbag world as a Birkin or as a Kelly. And this is how they do it. They do it with increasing their prices. So basically they want their bags to become more exclusive, more luxurious, harder to get, harder to afford, and therefore even more of a status symbol. Increasing their prices in very short time spans with extremely high percentages is the way that they chose to achieve that standard. So now let's talk about what I think about it and what I also think are let's say, interesting points of view that I watched in Sophie's video as well as in Chase Amy's video. So I think when it comes to Sophie's video, I very much share her opinion, and that is that I find it extremely insensitive, inappropriate, and almost scandalous, to be honest, that they choose to increase their prices in such a hefty way during a global pandemic. So I think there is one thing that you can do if you have like your brand strategy going on. I mean, everyone had their brand strategies going on, you know. Chanel isn't the only company or fashion company out there that is striving towards like certain goals and strategies, you know. So many other brands, and I also think that this is something that Sophie did state it very well, many other luxury brands actually did actively support the fight against our global pandemic, or within our global pandemic, while changing up their production scenes and their factories and starting to produce hand sanitizers, or they started to produce masks and other hygiene, you know, goods and products, so that they could actually swap their own production site that was maybe like laying low because of the lockdown, and then instead they shifted that into producing more actually needed goods during this time, which I think is brilliant. And there are many brands that did that. Whereas from Chanel, you really didn't hear anything to begin with. I know that some people say that they donated something. They also had like a PR page that said that they were donating quite the sum towards the fight against, you know, the pandemic. However, it was stated very intransparent in comparison to the other brands or companies, which of course makes you wonder, okay, you know, what exactly does that mean? Also, it is still from a tax point of view and from an economical point of view quite the different thing to say, okay, let's just donate something, which obviously comes with many tax advantages, or to say, let's actually change up our production sites and our factories, and let's actually, you know, source different goods, different raw materials, let's produce completely different products. So you know what I mean? So the commitment, let's say, on this part, on the Chanel story, is a little bit different, or very much different, than what those other brands did. So yeah, I think that the price increases are very much obscene. Sophie did say it in a little bit more of a diplomatic way. She said that her impression is that Chanel is out of touch. I would actually go a little bit further, and I would say it's like a hit in society's face. To me, this price increase says basically, we do not care about society. We are a very elitist brand made for people who are on their level of wealth way beyond the struggles and the insecurities and the life changes that come with this global pandemic. And of course, these people exist, and maybe some of them are watching this video, and I do not in any way attack this group of society by any means. No, what I do is I critique Chanel because there are many other high-end luxury brands that did cope with this situation in a much more appropriate and sensitive way, which I think is very important. And that brings me to Chase Amy's video, because she did emphasize on that point that what Chanel does, especially with this like Hermes standard strategy, is of course that they want to become even more luxurious, even more hard to get, exclusive, highly coveted. And they want to, of course, embrace this very high-end, wealthy target group, which is, of course, kind of, you know, immune to all the economical and social struggles and changes and problems that the world does face. And if Chanel thinks only and exclusively about this target group, then of course I do get that. But I think that Chanel, especially in, you know, modern days, should not think in such a class orientated way. I think that this way of thinking is very much outdated. I think that we all know by now that fashion, and even luxury fashion, is very much like a democracy, that the target groups change very much, that, you know, the millennials and even Gen Z are very important target groups, and that these are target groups that actually do care more about, you know, ethics and morals and authenticity, and, you know, especially in a crazy situation like that, being a little more empathetic. And in order to stay relevant as a brand, you have to also please this specific target group, and you have to keep them in mind, and you also have to take into account what impression and what image do you leave with these people, and not just with the customers that you already do have in your customers, list anyway. So that's that. So besides all the circumstances that are out there now, I also think that there are a couple of more points that I would like to dive into when it comes to those price increases. And that is, of course, I already talked about that many times. I think it is such a scandalous and obscene mentality to increase a price on a product that doesn't change. I mean, if they would actually start to hand make all the Chanel classic flaps now in France, just like MS does it basically, then they could actually justify these price increases, but they don't. Chanel handbags are so high in demand that they are a mass produced product, and I think that they will never achieve that Hermes standard if they don't also deliver on the quality and exclusivity and craftsmanship and finesse when it comes to their products. I think that the whole quality issue is something that many people here on YouTube or in the internet, especially in general, talk about, and it's like they don't do anything about that whole quality aspect and craftsmanship aspect. They only care about the price aspect. And what I also already talked about many times is that the customer experience is really not up to speed and up to date with the current times. I think Chanel is one, or maybe the only brand that I know that doesn't have a pampering service, a repairing service, a restoring service for their handbags. If something wrong with your handbag, you either get into a fight with someone because they will deny that there was something wrong with the bag. They will most likely tell you that it is your fault. Or they will send the bag in, you will have to wait for months, and then you also actually have to pay. So with this whole process, there are obviously many things wrong with. I think that when it comes to their service, their customer service and their customer experience, they don't really deliver on that, especially not in a luxury brand standard. For example, Celine does have a free pampering service where you can just give them your bag that you bought with them. They will send it into Italy and they will just refurbish the whole bag, the leather, the seams, the stitchings, everything. And that they do for free. At least this is what they did before, the rebranding. I don't know if this may have changed. And this is, what I expect when I buy a luxury good, to be honest. Then, of course, we have Dior, who also have a refurbishing and repairing service. They are also, to begin with, always extremely friendly. They are always very, very engaged with their customers, and they always try to find a way to find certain items to fulfill your requests and your wishes. For example, at Dior, my SA always offers me to get a product for me if they don't have it in my local boutique, always. It's never a big deal to order something in. I have to tell you, the other day when I was at Dior now, I actually asked my SA if I could get a hold of this book, but in English. So this is the book that you could buy back in the days when Dior had their Designer of Dreams, epic exhibition in. First they had it in Paris, and then it also took place in London. And I was actually in Paris, and I did buy this book there, but unfortunately I didn't buy it in English, but I did buy it in French. Sorry, I'm digressing a little bit. I just want to emphasize the good customer service at Dior. So I'm not able to read this book because my French is too bad, unfortunately. And I asked my SA if she could maybe get a hold of this book, but in English. And I didn't even had in mind that I want to exchange books or something. I just wanted to have the English version as well. And then I thought maybe I would sell it on eBay or something. And she said that she will organize the book for me and that I can then just exchange books, even though I didn't even buy this book with her. So she actually offered me a free exchange for this quite pricey coffee table book just because. And that is what I call a great customer service. And that basically concludes my opinion and what I wanted to say about the current Chanel price increases. So let me know your thoughts on the topic in the comments down below. If you also actually happen to enjoy this video and you are new to this channel, please make sure to subscribe, to hit that notification bell, and also consider following me on Instagram. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!